My name is Panya Patipao, or Panya Pata, which translates as the wisdom of the sun. Panya Pata. Panya is a really big thing in Buddhism. Panya means divine wisdom or divine insight. And I really like that name because it kind of reminds me of the focus that I need to be acquiring on this path. And I've been to many places. I've traveled to so many different countries in my little journey here. I started out traveling in about 1998 until the present. I'm originally from Washington State, Seattle, Washington, the home of Nirvana, the home of Jimi Hendrix and good coffee. My journey kind of started out when I was my late teens, 18 years old, 16, 17, 18 years old. And I just had so many questions about spiritual enlightenment and the soul. I was very religious at a certain period of time, and in periods of time I was very religious. I guess what kind of happened at a young age was I just realized that I was living in a state of decadence. I was living in a state of chaos. You know, and I was surrounded by a lot of things that just weren't conducive to a better me. Let's say that. Man, I just wasn't content at the time. I had whatever I needed to have, but it didn't matter how many things that I acquired. It was just never fulfilling. It wasn't something that would bring me happiness, tranquility, or contentness. It would just bring me more problems. Girlfriends, cars, money, clothes. It didn't matter what it was. I was just always unhappy with whatever I had. It just felt like it never solved the problems of a chaotic heart. I just felt like I still wasn't developing and changing. I was not progressing forward with my spiritual practice, and I figured that it was the mindset, and it was the mindset that I was on. The opinion that I was on was, the reason why I'm doing X, Y, and Z, which are resulting in bad behavior or bad karmic cycles, or producing sin, as someone called it, or doing things that would anger Allah or whatever. It was because Satan whispered to me, and I kind of felt that was like a cop out. I felt like at the time, I felt like that was the easy route, to blame a being outside of myself for the actions that I was doing. I thought them through, and I said I wanted to do them, and I did it. And I grew so dispassionate, blaming the devil. It wasn't the devil, it was me. It was because my cravings and my desires were so strong, and I didn't know how to battle them. I would blow up.
ตาจานิทุกขพยาบาตาจานิพยาโสกปาตาจานิโสกันตุสัพเพปิปานิโนเอตวัตจามเมสัมปะทังปุญญาสัพพะทังสัพเพเทวานุโมทันตุ
On this path, it's been a long time on this path, and I've learned a few things that have helped me overcome a lot of obstacles in my path that were self-inflicted or placed in front of my path. But besides that, I've just learned how to recognize them, learn how to get rid of them, avoid them, or keep continuously falling into these hurdles. And the wisdom that I've learned on this path is many. Some of the more profound, insightful wisdoms that I've learned through practicing the path of self-realization, or coming closer to enlightenment, or following the path laid down by the divine master of virtue, Lord Buddha. What I have learned is you have to be very, very cautious and careful about what you look at. Because what you look at is also looking back at you, and is also capturing a piece of you. And this doesn't always mean a human figure or a physical form. This is talking about what you look at on a repetitious basis. The things that you see in front of you all the time, or you catch yourself glimpsing and seeing these things all the time, they have an impact on your psyche. And they also tell you about how your psyche is picking up different frequency, what frequency your psyche is picking up on the most. And you have to ask yourself, well, why am I seeing this pattern of whatever it may be all the time, whether it's on TV, whether it's in your physical life, it's in front of you, or you're hearing about it, or you're reading about it. So be careful what you see. What you see will stare back into you. And if the eye is the doorway to the soul, or the doorway to your understanding, higher self, whatever you'd like to say, then how many people do you really want inside of your home? And how many people come into your home and they don't want to leave your home? They don't understand when it's time to leave, and they don't get the cues that you don't want them there anymore. They become very stubborn. In order to be able to resist some of the negative aspects of the constant repetitions that you see, then you must surround yourself by better reflections of what you aspire to be, or you be around things that give you give you a more positive outlook on life, help you be a better person, help you have a more positive outlook on how you want to present yourself and represent your ancestors and represent your practice to the people around you. I like the point of liberation through meditation. Meditation was probably the best thing I've ever encountered. It's the best thing I've ever encountered. Meditation helped me stop making rash and silly mistakes, because I wasn't listening to the inner wisdom that was inside I was born with. The inner wisdom that you learn from contemplating the things around you. I was always attracted to asceticism. I was always attracted to ascetic practices, yogis on the mountain, that meditation monk that's in the Himalayas, or Tibetan style monks and mantras and caves, and just esotericness, the art, the art, and I guess I don't know what you would call that. I would say the characters that I saw inside the Buddhist temples. It was so powerful. I am an artist myself, so I know the strength of visual imagery as opposed to not having one. Buddhism taught me about how to practice harmony, and it was in that harmony where you find tranquility, and it is in that tranquility where you find mindfulness, and in that mindfulness you find enlightenment. And I've been a monk now for over a year. I'm a higher ordained Buddhist monk, and at the time I'm living in Thailand. I just got done living in Cambodia for the last year. I lived in the forest for about a year, and I'm going to continue my practice of spiritual enlightenment and development. And that is my story in a nutshell.